Yeah, when I'm just sitting there swearing under my breath, I'm purring. So I've put together a little presentation about something I'm incredibly passionate about. The title, Swearing. It's actually kind of rad. I'm a pro swearing guy. By the way, I put this all together at like 2 or 3 a.m. last night. So formatting is terrible. There's all sorts of random shit in it. Sorry. 2 contradictory statements. The pen is mightier than the sword, and sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. How can both of those things be true? Which one of those statements is it? And I think Miguel and Tulio put it best when they said both. Both is good, because I think that both statements can be true in exactly the same situation. Also what? Essentially, my point is words have power, but only when it's given to them. So I think the idea of the sticks and stones may break my bones, words will never hurt, is words that you give no power to cannot mean anything. Remember that idea? We're gonna kind of go past it. I know it's, I guess, the thesis statement of the video, but we're gonna kind of speed past it. Just keep that in mind for much later. Mostly this is going to be just about goofy shit, but this is kind of an important thing. So what makes a swear bad? I think where I tend to lean is we tend to perceive swear words as worse because they have really strong consonant sounds. At least most of them do. When you think of bitch, shit, fuck, right? A lot of really strong consonants that are very impactful. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every word with a strong consonant is bad. Like punk is not a swear in any way, even though it's very strong, but it's definitely more threatening than something like burger. I think there might be something to that, but I'm not 100% sure. Luckily though, no one is. Researchers don't really have clear ideas about why we swear. A guy named Timothy B. Jay has been doing academic studies and writing about swearing for a very long time, and he has some interesting ideas, but fuck that. We're just gonna have fun. And it's all relative anyway. What is a good and what is a bad word. Just looking at stuff we'll understand. Australia has their usage of cunt. I don't know how many times I can say that on Twitch before they ban me, but right, interesting, that's like a huge deal in America. It's the real mother of all bad words. We all use fuck all the time, but cunt? Everyone gets antsy about it. But in Australia, it's just a totally standard term. In England, they have things like bloody, bugger. You know, I think generally they're considered kind of not super serious swears, although I heard all the time that like, oh, bloody was just as bad as fuck in England. But then the little kid says it in Harry Potter, and I was like, I don't know that I believe that. Can't be that bad, because we're not using fuck all over English TV unless you're watching HBO. Unless you're cool. Unless your parents don't care. Mando, you brought up a really good one. Americans use fanny super casually. We do not think of it as a swear at all. It's just an everyday word. We have a bag that we call a fanny pack. We do not think of it in any sort of rude way. It is very rude in the UK. I don't know about Australia, but I know most places in the UK it's considered pretty rude. And that's just English. I could probably talk about, some other languages as well. I'm not as qualified, of course, but it's definitely regional, so not all words have the same power to all people. Yeah, that sentence worked. Sure. Let's get into some more fun stuff. Remember that Mythbusters episode? The one with the swearing? Essentially, the point is, swearing can help you deal with pain and stressful situations. There's actually a surprising amount of research about it beyond Mythbusters. Yeah, kind of like how a cat purrs to you. Yeah, when I'm just sitting there swearing under my breath, I'm purring. That's exactly what it's like, Niku. Swearing in reviews and advertising shows a dramatic increase in desired response. So essentially, if you want someone to like something, having swearing in there to show how positive it is, like, oh, it's fucking great. That's actually super effective. You won't see it a ton because I think there are two camps. People who are like, in my Christian target and, you know, younger people who think it's kind of cringe. I think I tend to lean on, like, especially in advertising, swearing is cringe. I don't think it's bad. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but generally it just feels like they're trying so hard. Apparently, creative swearing may be a sign of intelligence. I saw a few journals and papers of studies trying to, like, explore this point. It's a little bit dubious, if I'm being honest. It's a fun idea. We like to think that because we say fuck a lot, we're actually smart. I'm not convinced that's true, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop saying fuck. Shit, what is this slide? Fucking facts! So based on another study, some interesting stuff. Swears make up 0.7% of spoken words on a daily basis. Not 7%, 0.7%. So less than 1%. But that's still a really considerable amount of the words we hear. For context, first person plural pronouns, we and our, are 1%. Being honest, for me, it's probably 2 to 3% of all words I say in a day are a swear word. 0.7% of spoken words is much more than you think. We use a lot of words in a day. Further interesting facts, swears are in 7.7% of all tweets as of 2014. That's pre-pandemic, pre-Donald Trump being president, pre-Black Lives Matter movement. If I had to guess, it's probably higher now than it was then. I wouldn't be surprised if we're at 9-10% of all tweets. Further very interesting thing, they're an 8.9% of all Yelp reviews. Now, granted, this includes them calling a place like a hellhole, which doesn't seem super severe, but for 9%, essentially, of all Yelp reviews to have some sort of swear in them, that's hilarious to me. What Karen is going on there, Rain? The service was damn awful. Okay, we're gonna switch tracks. We're gonna stop looking at academic stuff, and let's get goofy. Let's get loosey-goosey with it. Let's have fun. I said loosey-goosey. Fuck, I'm a boomer. God, this format. Times when swearing was/is cool, or not. I'm gonna talk about 3 kind of bits of media where swearing is prevalent. We're going to spend most of the time on film, television, because I feel like there's most to say about that. We'll mention music for a second, and then we'll end with video games. First point I want to touch on when it comes to film and television and swearing is the PG-13 movie single fuck word. I think there are both positive and once again, what is this formatting? So I'm just going to look at some examples first. Good example. The single F word you get in the first Anchorman movie is fantastic. I love, 1, the delivery, 2, that it actually has repercussions to the story. It's not that just them trying to cram in their fuck word into a PG-13 movie. They actually made it work. Bad example. I don't know if any of you guys saw that Vin Diesel movie Bloodshot. Kind of mediocre action comic booky superhero thing. It's fine. If you want to check it out, you can, but don't consider this an endorsement of the movie. The one in Bloodshot is just super weak. It's super typical. I don't even remember what it is, but I remember being like, wow, that is actively bad, and hating it. Another great example, I don't know if you've seen The Shallows, the Blake Lively joint. Actually a pretty good, pretty suspenseful movie. The fuck in it is directed at a shark, and that's dope as hell. Sharks are cool. Fuck is cool. Blake Lively is cool. Metal as fuck is a perfect description of that movie. If you haven't seen The Shallows, go watch this one. Actually is an endorsement. Go watch The Shallows. Another really bad use of the single F word, second Ghost Rider. Granted, the entire movie is just ass, but the use of the fuck in it is especially egregious. Non-examples, but just good things about the single fuck word in PG-13 movies. They can be pretty fun or impactful, right? Based on the fact that you have to use them just a single time. They try and save it for either a particularly funny or a particularly brutal moment. I think that's often done pretty well, but it's also often very cringe. Just feels like they're like, oh, we gotta get our fuck in, man. I think there are plenty of great examples of, usage of that fuck word. But on the other hand, I feel like it actually contributes to the stagnation of language by codifying a word's meaning into law. Essentially what I mean by that is The fact that we have prescribed a meaning, not just like an actual dictionary definition, but an impact to a word in a law means that language can no longer develop. Language grows and changes over time. We've seen it countless times. Probably had to read some old like Depression era novels while you were in high school. And there are words in there and you look at them and be like, what is that word? It's like, oh, that actually used to be a swear. It's now a word we don't even use or think of anymore. Language develops, but because we said, hey, fuck is bad word, and we put that into a rule, it can't change unless they change the rule. I mean, if you've watched an R-rated movie with a lot of fucks in it, you know that by the end of the movie, it loses impact because of exposure. And that's what would happen based on how often it's generally used in a daily context if we didn't have a law saying, hey, this is a bad word. Thanks, MPAA. But, you know, fuck that, teehee, F-bomb, go burr. Fuck has been a bad word for a very long time, but the fact that there's a law surrounding it, because that law has been there for a very long time, since like the 40s, I want to say, with the MPAA. It can't, that can't change. Okay, I want to talk about something I call the Jonah Hill problem. Don't get me wrong, I like Jonah Hill, but Superbad. First, great fucking movie. Love Superbad. Wonderful coming-of-age tale. Hilarious. It has, I believe, around 220 uses of fuck in it, which is a significant amount. If you think of The Big Lebowski, I believe it held the record for... Is it McLovin's birthday? Is it actually? That's crazy. Yo, happy birthday, McLovin. What a coincidence. That's amazing. 220 fucks is like a lot for a movie. And of those, Jonah Hill says at least 96 of them. I went through and I counted them, and that was my, like, that's what I got. There are a few moments where it's kind of hard to tell who's swearing because it's off camera or, someone is not facing the camera. So it's a little hard to tell who's saying it. But yeah, Jonah Hill says 96 of those F words of all the characters in the film. And there are a lot of characters saying it. Jonah Hill is almost half. This is a kind of a trend for a lot of the movies. And the reason I call it the Jonah Hill problem is because I tend to think of movies with Jonah Hill in them as indicative of the issue. 21 Jump Street, once again, great fucking movie, has a lot of Jonah Hill F-bombs. Just kind of that late 2000s, early 20-teens. This was like a very standard thing. Oh, get Jonah Hill in the movie, have him swear a lot. Even when Jonah Hill wasn't, it was just kind of the vibe. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It just feels lazy. I feel like, for as much as I swear, there are often times where there's a better way to express a thought. And it just felt like they were trying so hard to be like, we're adults. This movie isn't for kids. Fuck. It feels lazy. Wolf of Wall Street, I believe, ended up beating Big Lebowski's record on swearing. I've actually never seen Wolf of Wall Street, but I do know Jonah Hill is in it. Jonah Hill was in that movie. They got him in there specifically to do that shit. Funny. I like Jonah Hill. Like I said, don't get it twisted. I love Jonah Hill. I think he's hilarious. I think he gets typecast a little bit. We're going to kind of move away from films now. Let's talk music. Honestly, I don't think there's like a whole bunch to talk about when it comes to swearing in music. I feel like it's often the same thing as kind of the deal with swearing in movies, where sometimes it's good and impactful and sometimes it's not. It can lose its impact if you like listen to a lot of rap music like I do, or very brutal metal, both of which tend to just swear a lot. And I don't even register it a lot of time, where like I'll be playing something at work and be like, oh yeah, this does say fuck a lot, doesn't it? I should probably skip this song. But remember how cool this sticker used to be? And now it's just like getting in the way of album artwork. Seeing this on a CD used to mean like, oh, that shit's cool. They say bad words. That's not music for playing in the car with mom. I honestly feel like it's not even a status symbol anymore. I genuinely am generally just frustrated that it's getting in the way of the album artwork. I just like do not care. I don't find it interesting. We're done. We're done with this sticker, man. Let's move on to something cool. Okay, there is one specific bit of swearing in music though that I want to talk about. Chance the Rapper. No face fills me with as much bittersweet emotion as this one. There has been so much good Chance music, and then he had to just go and do Chance things, and the big day is depressingly bad, and it turns out he might be kind of an asshole. You know, what he did to his former manager and that kind of stuff, just less than ideal. But he did once right. I'm the motherfucking fucking niggas fucking dumb. Yes, he did say the gamer word. He said, I'm the motherfucking fucker fucking dumb. If you look at those first 3 uses of fuck, he has used it as the main 3 parts of a sentence. First as an adjective, then as a noun, then as a verb. Motherfucking, adjective, fucker, a noun, fucking, N-words, fucking dumb. The 3 main parts of a sentence. And he just chucks them out there all in a row. That's fucking art, baby. That shit is beautiful. Absolutely fucking love that. But you'll notice in this thing, this little presentation about swear words and how language is relative and it grows and changes, I have censored out a word. There's good reason for that, but we'll go back to it later. By the way, when I made this slide and I typed in video games, it suggested this is the design for the slide. And I was like, yep, that's the one we're using. Swearing in video games, just some quick things, because I feel like I've taken forever on this already. I think it's a lot like film, but it tries even harder to be edgy. If you have ever watched Donkey's like videos on The Last of Us, I think he points this out, but it just seems like they're trying so hard to be like, we swear because games aren't for kids. We swear because games aren't for kids. Once again, I don't think swearing is a bad thing. I like swearing, but man, it just feels so cringe when it feels like they're just trying to shove it in to keep things mature, and I don't like that. You remember this guy? Just to illustrate my point about trying to be edgy. Of course you remember this guy. How could you not remember this beautiful man? It's the swoon. I love the swoon. But Shadow the Hedgehog was like the big deal because they made the Sonic game that wasn't for kids because Shadow says, damn. Did you hear that? He said, damn. Edge. It's just, they went so hard on it. It's not a game for kids. It's so edgy. Oh, man. Honestly, ESRB causes a lot of the same problems as the MPAA because essentially codifying language, right, into law. But their rules are a little bit less clear-cut, so I generally don't blame them as much because, I mean, maybe this was just the time I grew up, but I remember playing a ton of T games that had, like, multiple F words in them and just not worrying about it because it was T, you know? Teens can hear the fuck word, but I feel like I see that less now. But as with the thing with music, there is one specific video game swear I want to talk of. My favorite. Maybe my favorite recorded swear of all time. If you recognize this man, then you're familiar with Devil May Cry. Specifically, this very pixelated screenshot is from Devil May Cry 5. These games are too fucking cool, man. There is an incredible swear. Now, before we jump into this is from the final boss of the game, which means spoilers. So if you have not played Devil May Cry 5 and you care a lot about spoilers, look away. Because I don't think you should get any auditory spoilers from this very short clip that I'm going to show. This is going to go really fast. Here we go. Very short bit. It comes fast, so, like, be ready. Fuck you. Did you hear that shit? Did you hear how brutal that was? We're gonna let's do it again. Fuck you. Just the effort in that. The rage. What good voice acting, honestly. Oh, it hurts to hear. I love it. I love it. Very good. So, that's it. That's my favorite example of swearing from a video game. That's kind of the end of the fun stuff. On a slightly more serious note, we're going to talk about slurs. On a nice little note of brevity, same thing as with that video game screen where it was like, hey, this is the image you should use. I typed in slurs and it said, did you need this picture of horses? And I said, yes, I do need that picture of horses. 2 white horses. They're probably racist. with what I've talked about with language and how swearing in many ways is subjective. Swearing is subjective. Slurs are different. Slurs are an exception, actually, because even if they are not offensive to you, that's not actually what matters. Slurs being words meant specifically to demean a specific group of people cannot grow and change in the same way as standard swears. I don't know if that's necessarily always the case, and I don't know what the answer is of, like, should you say them, should anyone say them, you know, should people who are from the groups generally oppressed by a term be able to reclaim that term. I don't have the expertise to talk about all that. I can't say. I am white man. Yeah, I think slurs may not inherently be tools of oppression. I think that is a good point, Jack. Talking specifically, you mean cracker, right? Which I know, ooh, TOS, fun, haha, I said the bad word. No one's gonna care here. I say it because you do make an important point there. A slur is not necessarily a tool of oppression, but there's issues of power dynamics and things there that I do not have. This point that I've made right over here, okay? I don't have all the expertise to talk about all of it. I don't know everything. No one really does. But listen to your friends from typically marginalized communities. Ask them how they feel about words being used. They might not want to talk about it. Be okay with that. The world, language, things only change as we learn and grow and understand each other, and from exposure to different ideals and different worldviews and different cultures. So you kind of have to ask yourself, like, where does your world end? And are you willing to expand that? Because for as fun as we can talk about, yay, swearing, a good time, slurs are a different issue. And if you've been using them and you're not a part of a marginalized community that the word is directed at, I would suggest not. You live in the rural South, only whites here. Yeah, it is a struggle. But I think the internet allows for opportunities to make a lot of friends from other backgrounds. It's not, of course, easy for everyone to meet people of new backgrounds and things, but I think the option is there, and it's very good. It took me way too long to realize, hey, I can't control how others hear these terms and what they mean to them, even if I use it in jest. I grew up using a lot of slurs. I think anyone who grew up in what I would consider like the Odd Future era, right? And the time of Xbox Live public lobbies, we all got really used to using them. I do still feel bad about it. I know that I potentially hurt a lot of people, and I can't necessarily go back and fix that. But I guess I can evangelize and try and, make up for it to others. But to conclude, language has the power we give it. Swearing seems to have some benefits, right? Pain, potential sign of intelligence, makes you more believable in advertising, I guess. Spicy sentence enhancers can be fun in film and music and gaming. Careful how you use those words, though, and in general, how you interact with your fellow human being. Be excellent unto each other. I wanted to let Remy close out the video for us.
Remy, come. Remy, sit. Speak.
Fuck!
Good boy.
Remy knows what's up.